Stay City Apart Hotels. Half apartment, half hotel. Warm beds, comfy sofas, and fully equipped kitchens. We offer guests more, so you can do more. Cook, sleep, work, play. Welcoming, accommodating, and big beds for jumping. Smart travellers choose Stay City because Stay City is the smart choice. Stay City, half apartment, half hotel, all across Europe. Save 10% every time you book at staycity.com.
We're delighted to extend the partnership with Go Ahead Ireland. They're an organisation that serves communities all over Dublin and helps serve our club members around the county, and it's been a brilliant partnership for the last 3 years, and we're delighted to extend for a further 2 years.
Like us, Dublin GAA are embedded in their community, so it was a really natural fit. For us, it was important to find a partner that was inclusive, but also had that community identity, and that's exactly what we found in Dublin GAA. Since we started the partnership, they've been really easy to work with, and we're really excited to continue the journey together.
In those 3 years, we actually accomplished a lot with Dublin GAA. We were privileged to be able to work with both local and national charities with them, as well as working on several GAA initiatives.
This partnership allows us to support Club League and Championship with initiatives such as our Dubs TV live streaming platform. We try and stream as many games as possible, particularly during the championship season where we can from a logistical point of view around grounds, and that is something we will continue to try and deliver over the coming years and keep enhancing club championship product and club leagues around the county across all 4 codes.
In the coming months, we're going to be continuing growing our services. And while we do that, that means that we'll be serving more GAA community clubs than ever before.
This year alone, we're going to be introducing the Development Fund for Accessibility as part of our partnership, which is going to see core infrastructure at Dublin GAA developed. In the summer, we're also introducing the Go Ahead Ireland Dublin LGFA Summer Skills Camps, which will be held in July and August.
As Dublin's best performing public bus operator, we're going to continue to work really hard on delivering for our customers and our communities.
My first memory of GAA would probably have been in Croke Park with my father. That would be in the early 1950s.
As a young lad brought down to watch one of my brother's matches.
Playing under 10 hurling, and I say hurling, not camogie, because I played on the boys team.
My feeling about the GAA was more a social one than a games one, because I thought it was a great way for all the kids to get to know each other.
Mum and Dad always brought us up to have each other's backs. We'd all go to each other's matches. No matter what we were doing or playing, we'd all support each other. I'm playing for the club 37 years, I think now, but I also coached my 2 daughters' teams.
It's great. It really is a great feeling to have the kids down there. And now all of their friends are beginning to come from the same community and the same focus on the club, so it's a mirror of what happened to me in my childhood, I suppose.
We made more friends down the years and had more fun down the years than ever we would anywhere else.
Mum fostered that through us as well. She was chief bottle washer. She'd have jerseys upon jerseys out in the line. 3
of my offspring are married, and they met their better halves through the club.
The friends and relationships I got out of it. Looking back, that was really what the GAA was about. Community, about building relationships with people. My name is Mick Galvin.
My name is Mary Galvin.
My name is Phil Galvin, and my family roots are in St. Bridget's GAA Club.
Hello folks, and welcome to Parnell Park for a Dublin Senior Football Championship 1 quarter-final between Cuala and Castleknock here in the Go Ahead Ireland Football Championship here in Dublin. I'm Shane Stapleton, joined by Paul Clark. There's a big weekend of Dublin football ahead of us. We've Ballymun against St Vincent's in the second quarter final this evening. We have a couple more tomorrow, and make sure that you subscribe to the Dublin GAA channel on YouTube, because you're going to see Kilmacud Crokes against Ballyboden and Nafina against Clontarf. There's also some really enticing quarterfinals in the Senior 2 Championship. Last night, Whitehall Columkills beat Scully Connell. That was 3-13 to 1-6. But there's also a host of other games on this weekend, including Temple Oak Sing Street against St Bridget's. That's tomorrow, as is St Oliver Plunkett's Own Rua against St Mary's. And on Sunday, Nave Barogue against Nave Olaf. So Paul Clark, big weekend starting off with Cuala against Castleknock.
Yeah, that's fantastic fixtures there, and all very competitive, and before the really dark nights kick in and they get a bit chillier, it's great to have so many games out there to be played, and what an exciting weekend here in Parnell.
Yeah, so we'll start off with the Cuala team, managed by Austin O'Malley. In the goals, Ryan Scollard. A full back line of Danny Conroy, Michael Fitzsimons, of course, Dublin regular for many years, and the first of three O'Callaghan brothers, Owen. Half back line then, in the centre is Charlie McMurrough, and either of the wings it's Owen Kennedy and David O'Dowd. And midfield, a couple of giants there, Padro Kofic Byrne and Peter Duffy. Captain James Pig Power at wing forward, Cahalog Gulon centre forward, and Cal Doran wearing number 12. And an inside line of the experienced Luke Keating, Niall O'Callaghan, and of course needs no introduction, Con O'Callaghan.
Yeah, a very steady selection of players that they've had for a number of games now. So to have that consistency is hugely important. Obviously marshalled in defence by Mick Fitzsimons and Charlie McMurrough, two key players to them. Michael controls it, he's respected by those guys and those young lads around him, and they'd be hard to break down. And going by their scoring averages, like they scored 74 points in the 3 games in the championship, only scored and conceding 32, if you want to call it that way. Midfield, as you said, 2 big men. Padro Kofic Byrne has been around the scene for a number of years now, was in a Jim Gavin panel for a while too. I'd love for them to take on responsibility now. I'd love for them to step forward and be the main man at midfield for them, and put in a partner beside him, and for him to grow a bit, if he can grow much more, and make it into a senior footballer, into county footballer consistently. Up front, I won't start in the half forward line, I'll go straight to the full forward line. A full forward line is maybe the last day scored 316 between the 3 of them. Obviously Con was well able to get his scores, and Niall, they'll obviously work together very well. And Luke Keating is someone that yourself is no spring chicken, but he's a guy that's been around a while and a fine footballer.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on to the Castleknock team, which has a couple of changes from the last day, which Paul, you'll talk to us about in a minute. But the guys who are starting, Marvin Connolly in the goals. The full back line sees Owen Walsh, Rob O'Shea and Tom Shields. Rob Shaw is centre back, and either side of him is Kieran Murphy and Andrew Hughes. Midfield sees Kieran Kilkenny, multiple All-Ireland winner, paired up with Kevin Stevenson. The half forward line is Luke Swan, Conor Chalk and Niall Kilroy, and inside you have Ben Galvin, Ger McDermott Rowe and Tommy McDaniels, the Westmeath man.
Yeah, defensively, lost the last day, losing Tom Quinn, so he would have been a starter today, but obviously sent off the last day. So Owen Walsh was a sub the last day, comes in at corner back. The job they have to do, and obviously concern, is who's going to pick up Con. Tom Shields around a number of years, got a chance with O'Byrne Cup at Dublin, and possibly could do that. Midfield is going to be competitive, but who's going to pick up who? Are we going to see it crowded out to try and to stop the aerial dominance that Cuala could have? And then up front, rather than the Cuala relying on 3 players, you have Castleknock depending on 4 or 5 or 6 players chipping in with 2 or 3 points each, which they did the last day. And like the changes, I said, Owen Walsh coming in, and then also the last day they had Ty Glow started, and I see Kieran Murphy starting this evening.
Okay, well, we're not too far away from throw-in now. Darren Delaney, he's our man in the middle today. The Castleknock players have just broken away from their huddle. We're ready to get going. What sort of game are you expecting here, Paul?
Well, conditions are the game. We obviously say it to help the people at home. They're looking at it. Looks perfect. It is the type of thing that, is the ball going to slip or slide when a bit of moisture comes later on in the evening, where there's a bit of a dew kicking in. So we'll see how guys go footwear wise. Very few wearing gloves. Straight away we talk about what Castleknock were going to do maybe at midfield to try and match that height advantage that Cuala has, and what they've done there straight away is putting Kieran in at the edge of the square.
He's gone in full forward and Charlie McMurrow is picking him up, and at the moment Michael Fitzsimons, he's at centre back and Ben Galvin is playing in that area. Let's see who wins this throw in. Two massive men in there for Cuala, and Padro Kofic Burm is going up, but Luke Swan might have got a hand to it, and quickly Kevin Stevenson is on the ball after Ben Galvin got his hand to it. So Castleknock on the attack straight away, and it's Kevin Stevenson once more, now to Ben Galvin. So early doors, Castleknock getting their hands on the ball and getting comfortable, playing down towards the golf course end. And here's Rob Shaw, who earlier in the championship, perhaps due to injury, wasn't starting, but certainly a fixture in this team when he's fully right.
He's a good footballer. Again, he orchestrates what goes on around him, and also can get up the pitch and kick a score if needs be.
Tom Shields now. Connor Chuck. Patient stuff so far from Castleknock. Stevenson and Shaw working the ball around. And Cuala getting plenty of bodies around, and Luke Keating, he wins the free eventually. A bit of a sliding tackle which the referee is unimpressed by, but in fact he looks to have given a free to Castleknock, so there was obviously a tug just before that. Yeah,
just as he was laying off the hand pass, I think there was a hand in and sort of pulled them back. Cuala have brought everybody back behind the ball, and just see how they're going to manage the first few minutes of the game.
Tom Shields now, 45 yards out. On the loop comes Rob O'Shea. Stevenson across to Kilkenny. Castleknock working the ball out wide a couple of times already, trying to stretch Cuala. Kilkenny being faced up. And Galvin, he's sent backwards, and Stevenson with a kick across to this near side. Cuala pretty disciplined so far, Paul.
Yeah, they're hunting sort of in packs. There's like a zonal type of press where 4 or 5 guys will push out and try and keep Castleknock wide and maybe isolate.
Luke Swan now, he's in traffic and eventually overcarries. Really good work from the Cuala defence there. David O'Dowd was the closest at the end of that move, and he's moving the ball out 13 metres. And quickly now, Cuala with their first chance to attack in this game. It's been all Castleknock for the first 2.5 minutes, but now Cuala have their chance. And showing on the inside is Peter Duffy. Luke Swan tailing him. And O'Dowd again. Here's Owen O'Callaghan. And now it's Power. And now free on the left wing and has an opportunity to turn inside is Danny Conroy, but he comes backwards. Didn't back himself for the shot there.
Absolutely not. Came to him and he had plenty of time to set himself up with a right-footed shot, but he just didn't want it at all.
Charlie McMurrow now has the ball, injects a little bit of pace. And inside he has an option. And a left-footed swinger, and it's straight over the bar. Excellent score for Cuala. They're on the board. 3 minutes and 20 in. And we'll just get a look at who that was.
It's Niall.
Niall O'Callaghan with his first score of the game.
Yeah, Cuala would be delighted with that. They set up a plan to get back behind the ball. They turned it over for a free up the pitch. The first attack and get a score. That's a good return from them starting off.
Now Castleknock on the attack again, and Luke Swan, he has a bit of green acreage to run into, and Kieran Kilkenny can't claim the ball there, and Charlie McMurrow runs into traffic, and eventually he takes too long over it, and Kilkenny, after spilling the ball, both he and his nominal midfield partner Kevin Stevenson managed to work a free for overcarrying.
Hand pass was a little bit too left. Kieran wanted it on his right side rather than it came very fast to his left side, because that'd be a right side to turn and kick a score. But
Swan with a chance now from 30 metres and no problem at all. So level game after 4.5 minutes. So when it looked like they were coughing up possession easily, like that's huge to always get that turnover score.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. You could easily drop the head and curse your teammate for giving you a bad ball, but they were alert to it, and it was good play.
Yeah, brilliant claim there from Owen Kennedy. He takes off, he's not waiting around to take a mark. Looking to inject a bit of pace, and Owen O'Callaghan just spills that ball that was played out by Peter Duffy, but Cuala back on the front foot. A couple of huge men in the centre area for Cuala. Now it's Luke Keaton, who'll be the real playmaker of the team. And now Power, he has a chance to wind up. Has his shot, but just pulls it to the left and wide. But again, Cuala look like they can score every time they get up to the top end of the pitch.
Yeah, when he broke free, it looked like he was looking up for someone else to come through the middle, but it opened up for him. Just his mindset wasn't set to take a shot on. I don't think he's sort of a bit hasty with it.
Marvin Connolly puts Ben Galvin back into a corner, but Galvin is very cool and works the ball back to his keeper eventually after a 1-2. Owen Walsh. Now Jerry McDermott-Rowe coming out from the inside forward line, where he certainly is a scoring threat, but coming out in the field to just get involved in the build-up play. Cuala don't seem to be committing too many bodies out the field, but once it comes into the 45, they're definitely getting more pressure on. Stevenson now on the ball, and Stevenson with a quick 1-2 with Ben Galvin, and now over the top looks to play it into Niall Kilroy, and Kilroy eventually finds a way to get that over the bar. So Castleknock take the lead for the first time in the game, and it was this 1-2 from Kevin Stevenson that was crucial to it.
Such a powerful and positive hand pass to the man coming out, and he ran on with pace. He was hard to stop then, you know.
And good work from Castleknock to regain possession. Now it's Luke Swan and Kieran Kilkenny on the ball for the umpteenth time already inside this opening 6, almost 7 minutes. Owen Walsh, and he works it out to his... Well, that's a little bit of a wild shot for a finish.
He did so well. He did so well, win the ball low, turned very quickly, and you know, a bit of a hasty shot.
Well, Cuala have the ball back out very quickly, and it's Cal Doran and it's Charlie McMorrow.
And I think that previous shot, Senan Faulkner, is in there, number 23 for Castleknock.
Is it Owen Sawyer?
Owen Sawyer.
Owen
yeah,
Sawyer.
sorry.
So that was Sawyer. That was a late change. And here comes Cathal Gillon. A 1-2 with Owen O'Callaghan. And on the loop is number 7, David O'Dowd. But he's forced to go backwards. And the burst now is McMorrow. And Luke Swan gets a crucial hand in there, but somehow Cuala still have it through Owen O'Callaghan. And now Michael Fitzsimons. And Cuala find a way to get the ball away from the pressure, and it's Peter Duffy who has the ball, and he's a powerful figure, and he is certainly backing himself to go straight through this Castleknock team, but he's sent back, checked a little bit by Kieran Kilkenny, but Cuala still have it. And that's an ambitious crossfield ball, but it's no problem for Cal Doran. And now it's the man they call Fitzy. Michael Fitzsimons gets the ball to Con O'Callaghan. He'll certainly look to unload a shot, but it drops a little bit short because there was plenty of pressure there from Castleknock.
Yeah, it was tightly marked, and as soon as he had possession, other players came from other areas of the defensive unit to come and put more pressure on him as well.
Now Luke Swan, he switches the angle across to Kieran Murphy, who's been chased by Niall O'Callaghan. And now it's Ben Galvin, who's certainly been quite prominent early in this game.
Yeah, the referee does another ball on the pitch here. He's just been cleared in the right corner, forward position.
Which Tom Shield unceremoniously toe bobs out over the end line. Now Kilkenny with a little switch inside to Niall Kilroy, who already has a score on the board. And to Sawyer. Now Kilkenny who drops the shoulder. Castleknock bringing it to this right wing. Andrew Hughes and Ger McDermott Rowe. And it's Galvin again. Now it's Kilroy and back to Kilkenny. And Swan back to Kilkenny again, who runs into traffic, but he's able to knock a man away. But just like Conor O'Callaghan at the other end, eventually the shot comes up short, probably just due to the pressure of trying to get through that traffic, Paul.
Yeah, pace and power from Kieran. Normally something that he would put away regularly, but you know, it's hard work to create these scores because there's so many bodies around people.
Caldorn looks for the kick pass inside to Conor O'Callaghan, who spills it. Now he's gathered it once more out onto his left foot and shanks it just a little bit to the left and wide. So both teams now, after getting scores early doors, they've missed with the last couple each.
Yeah, Con probably was hoping for a mark there. As you say, just spilled it and dropped in front of himself.
Really good catch from Kevin Stevenson because he was under massive pressure from the high tower that was Peter Duffy.
I'm just trying to look at the wind conditions, you know, is it favouring anybody? Seems to be coming a little bit towards our face and maybe from the church end a bit.
And Castleknock have kept 4 players up inside the 45 here, trying to stretch Cuala out a little bit, but they're staying patient. Shaw goes back to his goalkeeper. Murphy now. And again, it's really patient stuff. Swan is happy to take the ball into contact or into an area with traffic, and he plays a beautiful hand pass over the top to Murphy, who was on the ball just moments beforehand. Now it's Kilkenny. This time he looks to shovel it over the top for Conor Chalk, but Cuala intercepts, and Cuala are very quickly on the counter attack. Carlo Giolan, he plays to David O'Dowd, and there's plenty of Castleknock jerseys back there, so it's not a done thing getting a score here on the counter. And Duffy shovels it across to Conor O'Callaghan. He's been faced up 1v1, eventually lets go with his left foot, and this time it's over the bar, and Rob O'Shea can only watch on.
I thought he lost the impetus of the play by the hand pass, or there was a foot pass out to Duffy. It bounced along the ground, a 20-yard pass, and it bounced along the ground 2 or 3 times before he got it. But you know, it was a fine score by Con. We were right behind it here, and it looked great.
Owen Sawyer manages to hold on to the ball despite the pressure from Conor O'Callaghan, but a really nice tackle from Danny Conroy eventually does strip the ball from the Castleknock side. And Conroy now with a kick pass over to the far wing, which is very sparsely populated, meaning that Owen Kendi can carry forward, and he's got Caldorn in front of him if he wants to use him, but instead gives it to Carlo Giolan, who spills it. Not the first player to spill this evening, and he's run into plenty of traffic, but he manages to stay cool. Now it's McMorrow, 35 yards out. Is he going to have a pop? No, instead he looks to feed it back, but clips the ball off referee Darren Delaney, and maybe that ball was going to be intercepted anyway, Paul, so maybe a bit of a let off.
Pressure on him, all right.
Couple of big men here, and Paddy Kofic Burma was always going to be favourite there with the extra 4 or 5 inches he had, and it's going to be a free to Cuala. Cuala might have enjoyed an advantage there if it was let go.
Yeah, referee obviously seen an obvious free. There was a pull as he'd won it, and you know, did he see advantage accruing? This is not easy by any means. It is Con. He struck a good one off his left foot already, but he's left some wide and some short already, so I expect him to make the distance. His accuracy now is the thing, and to see if that breeze at all his influence if he puts up very high.
35 yards out, and the goalie dropped the head quite quickly there, so I think we knew quite quickly that was going to be a score for Con. His first from a free and second overall.
Yeah, he kept it below the height of the big posts in Parnell, so that means it's nearly as low as the stand or the terrace behind the goal, so no influence, good strike.
Bit of a press from Cuala here, so Marvin Connolly is going to be tested to some degree, and eventually the referee has enough of that, so he's going to take away the kick out, and instead he's going to have a word with the goalkeeper as well.
You're going to get booked, I think.
Yeah, perhaps a little bit of lip.
Something out of order. which the keeper doesn't need anyway. We know all keepers under pressure because, do you have to execute a long kick out or a short kick out? Do you have to execute under the pressure of a blanket defence or a high press? And if it's now in his head that he's under more pressure and under pressure with the referee is not his friend anymore, so he's very careful.
It's a thrown up ball in which of course Padro Cofic-Byrne is always favoured to win, and eventually it's a free for Cuala. Luke Keating, the man in the right place at the right time, and Kevin Stevenson just left a boot in there, so Luke Keating wins that free. Keating was of course on the under 21 Dublin panel around the Euro where Jim Gavin was over the team. Very talented left footer, very creative player. So anytime there's a contested ball, having Padro Cofic-Byrne to go up for it is quite an advantage.
That's a responsibility to him. I said before the game I'd like to see him with more responsibility. That's a responsibility. He's going to win it. We'll go and contest everyone, whether it's a corner forward or corner back. We need you to win that ball.
And Luke Keating, with minimum fuss, knocks that over the bar for his first scored game. So Cuala, having been 2-1 behind, are now 4-2 ahead, Paul.
Yeah, now we got to see is there going to be another high press? Like if the keeper comes out and stands around not unsure what to do, why doesn't he walk out a little bit slower to scan the pitch ahead of him, what he's going to do rather than coming out too quickly?
Well, he goes long on top of numbers, and Cuala win that one very, very easily. Straight away it's Caldorn on the ball, and he gives it back to Owen Kennedy, but Kennedy took a little bit too much time over it there, and ultimately it's a free out for Castleknock. After losing the kick out, they'll be relieved to get a quick turnover. Yeah,
good tackle. He was looking ahead when on his blind side, his right side. A good tackle came in, and as the ball fell to the ground, he touched it on the ground.
That was McDermott Rowe. Kieran Kilkenny shown for the ball ahead outside the 45. And he looks to hand it over the top to Sawyer, who's certainly been prominent in the last few minutes.
Well, his boots have, anyway.
And McDermott Rowe, little 1-2 perhaps. Instead, Kilroy goes himself, and he's running into a lot of traffic there. And ultimately, the referee suggests that there was a little bit of a tug there from James Power, so it will be a free in for Niall Kilroy, who seemed to be running out of road, Paul.
Yeah, he was very fortunate that he wasn't run over. The hand was sort of over the shoulder there from Duffy, perhaps.
Okay, it was Duffy.
That was his right hand was over the shoulder. People would say it was a near hand, but it was actually over the shoulder trying to get possession of the ball.
And Luke Swan, as expected, puts that one over the bar, so an immediate response from Castleknock.
They needed it. Hadn't scored in a few minutes, hadn't created a chance at all. Had turned the ball over a number of times.
Castleknock sit off, and even so, Ryan Scollard goes long to an uncontested Castleknock man, surprisingly enough.
I don't know whether he was looking to hit Con. He was hoping to maybe get it over that 70-yard block as such, and Con was coming out for that.
Well, Kieran Kilkenny has the ball once more. He's working it to Galvin, and Galvin goes backwards to Sawyer, who finds McDermott Rowe, and now Conor Chalk, who miscues that one pretty badly. And will it go out over the end line? It will. So Chalk has been rather quiet. He was a goal scorer here just a couple of weeks ago, and a disappointing attempt there from a quality player.
Yeah, shot selection was poor, shot execution was even worse than that.
And this time Scollard does find his man, and straight away David O'Dowd looks to arrow one up the line for Cathal O'Gillan. Really nicely worked up the pitch by Cuala, but they do have to go backwards. Power to O'Gillan. Power coming forward. Now it's back to Fitzsimons, who carries with a bit of intent. Con O'Callaghan coming on the loop. Back to Fitzsimons. Will he look to get it back to his teammate? He won't. Instead, he knocks the ball over from about 18 yards out. So that's Michael Fitzsimons on the score sheet.
Yeah, people tracking. Mick wouldn't expect him to get away with a shot, so they just tracked him, and then they switched off when the ball was given to Con, and then he looped inside. Good finish from Mick. He always gives that pace and energy to an attack.
Walsh and McDermott Rowe. And Fitzsimons stands off Conor Chalk and doesn't really have support around, so it allows Chalk to turn. And now it's Sawyer inside the penalty area, and he's been tugged back by Owen O'Callaghan. And eventually the referee decides that was a free and it was outside the penalty area. It was right on the line.
I thought he
Darren
caught
Delaney.
it in. I thought he. Oh, well done, ref. Yeah.
He's caught it out just
Just
outside.
yeah.
So the foul started just outside and then maybe leaked inside.
Well, he caught the ball outside,
Yeah.
but was the foul inside then, you know?
Well, look.
Referee made a good call.
Owen O'Callaghan will be happy now that the referee has decided it was outside. And eventually it's popped over the bar by McDermott Rowe. So Castleknock have done very well to just pare back that lead to 5-4.
Without doing an awful lot, you know, greatly, but they're chipping away at it. You know, I thought starting off when we seen all these, everybody dropping back behind the ball was going to be a very low scoring game. It has been so far, but you know there has been missed chances too. We could be sitting here in a 8-7 in scoreline, you know.
The midfield duo for Cuala combining there. Must be 13.5 foot tall between them, Paul. And here's Niall O'Callaghan across now to Duffy. And now it's Con O'Callaghan. And inside is Cal Doran. A lot of traffic, Castleknock traffic was dragged towards Con, but Doran's shot eventually is a little bit disappointing. Didn't seem to catch it right. Marvin Connolly quickly works it out to Niall Kilroy, who gets it out to Kilkenny, and Kilkenny is faced up by McMorrow pretty quickly, but does well to hold on to the ball under severe pressure. And now he finds Stevenson. So Stevenson on the front foot, with Galvin showing, as so often he does. Plenty of 1-2s from Castleknock, and they finally have it inside the 45 with Rob Shaw. Now they've slowed down the play a little bit, but a nice little switch hand pass inside from Kieran Murphy. Shields, and now, well, it was Owen Walsh who wound up, but eventually he was blocked down brilliantly by Luke Keating.
It's a great block. Can't beat a body and all block. That means hitting the ball and taking him out at the same time. Can't beat it.
And it looks like we're going for a 45. McDermott Rowe, he's looking for the ball. He's going to retrieve it and bring it back out. And Luke Swan is certainly standing there as an interested party. But he walks away from it, so it will be McDermott Rowe, and he's not going to have a pop. He's going to instead play it back to Kieran Murphy and maybe try and have a pop from open play. But instead he has to turn back for Murphy. And a give and go, perhaps. Yep. Kilkenny back on the ball once more, and now it's Chalk. Plenty of traffic, so he has to go backwards to Murphy. It's Kilkenny again, a succession of 1-2s, and now it's Swan on the centre of the D under huge pressure from number 7, David O'Dowd, and eventually that's enough to tell because the ball drains just to the right and wide.
Was used pressure. He did great to get the shot away.
Yeah. Cofield Byrne, brilliant catch, but he was out over the sideline. And Kieran Murphy and Kevin Stevenson looking to retrieve that ball quickly. And it's back to Murphy. Didn't have much happening in front of him, so he does have to go across to Shaw. Cuala keeping just one man up the top end of the pitch, that's Luke Keating. And Swan, he carries the ball into traffic, but he does manage to maintain it, but eventually his teammate Andrew Hughes fails to do so, and Cuala are on the counter. And now Owen O'Callaghan on this wing in front of us. He doesn't have much to aim at in front of him. Charlie McMorrow is making a run. So O'Callaghan, he's able to carry and carry. Will he have a shot himself? He won't. He'll give it to his brother Niall, who goes down under the challenge of Kieran Murphy, who's not overly impressed with the decision of the referee Darren Delaney, but even so it's a free to Cuala.
I'm loving the energy of Cuala's cornerback, Danny Conroy. He's tough. He's teak tough, as you say. There's a ball there, was 50-50, and he went in harder than the corner forward or the forward went. And he seems to be getting on a bit of ball and carrying the forward really well too.
Con knocked over the last free. Can he double his tally from frees? He can indeed. That one was never in doubt. That's 6 points to 4 to Cuala. So a couple of times now Cuala have been able to counter Castleknock and get quick enough scores.
Yeah, they're getting up the pitch quicker, under less pressure, and taking their opportunities. Obviously, it's a lot better because there's no energy, not as much energy involved getting it up the pitch if you can do that quicker.
Well, already on a yellow card, Marvin Connolly probably felt he had to get that kick out away and ultimately ended up kicking it into a mass of Cuala players. But Eoin O'Callaghan looks to find a teammate over the top and it just runs out of play harmlessly.
I've said about I think the Castleknock keeper is under pressure now, and he's coming out and he's looking and he's gesturing who's free. And, not one of them are easy kickouts.
Yeah, and Kieran Murphy wasn't necessarily looking for that ball there, but eventually it came in his direction and James Power, eager to get a hand in it, probably just trampled all over his man, and it's a free to Castleknock, and they're working it out now with McDermott Rowe. But certainly that is something that Cuala can look to go at for the rest of the game, you'd imagine, Paul.
The keeper needs to slow it down himself, bring the ball out and see what's happening out with the pitch. What he's doing is bringing it out, putting it on the tee, and then he's under pressure then because he's supposed to deliver the ball and the referee's not letting him.
Well, now Cuala have been upset by Castleknock, but Castleknock just hand back the ball once more. They'd done brilliantly well to turn Cuala over, and Conor Chalk worked the ball out to the wing, but McDermott Rowe he has that left foot, that quality, but probably a little over eager and hits it straight to a Cuala man. Would you expect so much ball to be turned over this easily, this early in a game?
Well, in this quarter-final stage, it's like you want to win it, you don't want to lose it. So people are forcing it. We've seen a couple of hand passes go astray. We've seen some wides. So there is pressure on people now.
Yeah, well, here's Kennedy. And Kennedy makes a burst to get inside and eventually manages to clip that ball to the back of the net under pressure from Rob O'Shea. That is a huge, huge score from defender Owen Kennedy, because just beforehand he'd given away the ball and sent his teammate McMorrow out wide. But the composure when he got inside here to go past O'Shea and finish like that's like a natural forward, Paul.
He gestured as if he was going to pass it across the goal, and I think the keeper left that inside post open and finished it very, very well.
Look, there's a Castleknock man down getting treatment at the moment, and that might be no harm in terms of calming everybody down from it being a particularly close game. All of a sudden there's 5 points in it.
I don't know whether that you got
it's Murphy
knock a few minutes ago, yeah.
Under the kick out when
the man Juice had climbed all over him. I think he got a bit of a clip then.
Yeah, James Power is a big man, so he definitely would have felt that, and now Marvin Connolly will certainly be looking to get a ball away, and he'll want some blue and gold jerseys shown for this. And it's miscued slightly, and in fact it was James Power was going to be favoured to make it anyway, and he quickly takes the sideline, and Duffy gives the ball back to him. All of a sudden Cuala are on the front foot once more. Duffy has the ball and just patiently goes back to Power. And O'Kofik Byrne, who runs into traffic, and Castleknock are a little bit unfortunate that they don't pick up the pieces there. So they're on the back foot once more, and now it's Luke Keating. McMorrow. Now multiple All-Ireland winner Michael Fitzsimons. Really driving at that Castleknock defence, and like his full backline teammate, there's a miscommunication. Well, like Eoin O'Callaghan a little while ago kicked one over the end line. Now Michael Fitzsimons has hand passed one over the end line. A little bit unusual. Just a miscommunication, but even so, it was a good chance for Cuala to extend their lead, but instead Castleknock have the kick out and they're on the front foot very quickly. Swan now, and he pads it over the top to Rob Shaw, who's been faced up by Conor O'Callaghan, but he manages to work himself a yard, and Kilroy has it now. And Kilkenny does a 1-2 and a second 1-2, this time to Galvin, who's surrounded by 4 Cuala men, and eventually he spills the ball, which is picked up by Peadar O'Kofik Byrne. Not for the first time Cuala have managed to get numbers there and force that turnover. Now it's Eoin O'Callaghan and Peter Duffy. And now under pressure, Niall O'Callaghan has the ball and he looks to pump one inside, but it's Andrew Hughes instead. The referee goes back for the free. There was an infringement against Niall O'Callaghan, but once more Castleknock, they're bringing the ball, they're trying their 1-2s in tight areas, and they're just running into traffic, Paul.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like very intricate hand passes, and they're hand passing to a guy who's with his back to goal and maybe 2 or 3 around him, and they're just not creating anything at all for themselves to get that nice free shot, and I know it's hard to say that, but they do need to get a couple of scores that's giving them a little bit of confidence, or maybe they feel a bit more comfortable in what they're doing.
And another free for Cuala. This time it's Haughton who's upended, and it's Kieran Murphy who took him down. And so far in this game, it's just 1 point from play for Castleknock. That came from a Niall Kilroy hand pass early doors to put them 2 points to 1 ahead. But they've been relying on frees otherwise. Cuala have had a couple of their own, of course. But they are 5 points ahead and with a chance to go 6 clear. So it's Luke Keating, who was successful with one effort from a similar enough area. This might be slightly wider. Takes time to steady himself. And the umpires aren't totally convinced. One gestured that may be wide, now the other one confirms that it is wide. So Cuala had that chance to go 6 clear, but a little bit of a let-off. Now Connolly, this is a big test. Can he find a teammate? And he goes over to a side that's hugely populated by Cuala men, but it doesn't matter because it's half-time. So we've seen an excellent goal from Owen Kennedy, which allowed Cuala to really stretch that lead, get out to 1-6 to 4 ahead. It had been nip and tuck up to that point, plenty of frees for both sides. Con O'Callaghan, he has 3 points on the board at this stage. 2 of those were from frees. Niall O'Callaghan has a point. Luke Keating, he has a free as well. And Michael Fitzsimons came up from fullback, or certainly the defence, to score one. On the other side, Luke Squan, a couple of frees. Dermot Rowe, he knocked one over, and also Niall Kilroy. But Paul, certainly it's advantage Cuala going into the second half with a 5 point lead.
Yeah, they've done very, very well throughout their team. Obviously, defensively, Mick Fitzsimons got a score, but he's controlling things. Charlie McNamara the same. I'd like to look at Danny Conroy as a defender. He's a good tough player. Midfield, they've had so much more advantage at the midfield area. Like I don't recall seeing much of Castleknock's midfield. And up front is a share of scores, and then you have Luke Keating going back to the end line and putting big blocks in for his defence. So so far so good for Cuala, and they're deserving of that lead.
Okay, well, plenty for both management teams to chew over during the break. So it's 7 of 9 chances converted for Cuala in that first half, just 4 of 9 for Castleknock. So they'll definitely look to improve things for the second half. We'll be back again in a few minutes. And don't forget that if you haven't already, subscribe to the Dublin GAA YouTube channel, because there's plenty more big quarterfinals coming up, including Kilmacud Crokes against Ballyboden and Nafina against Clontarf. Both of those games are tomorrow. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Stay City Apart Hotels. Half apartment, half hotel. Warm beds, comfy sofas, and fully equipped kitchens. We offer guests more, so you can do more. Cook, sleep, work, play. Welcoming, accommodating, and big beds for jumping. Smart travellers choose Stay City because Stay City is the smart choice. Stay City, half apartment, half hotel, all across Europe. Save 10% every time you book at staycity.com.
We're delighted to extend the partnership with Go Ahead Ireland. They're an organisation that serves communities all over Dublin and helps serve our club members around the county, and it's been a brilliant partnership for the last 3 years, and we're delighted to extend for a further 2 years.
Like us, Dublin GAA are embedded in their community, so it was a really natural fit. For us, it was important to find a partner that was inclusive, but also had that community identity, and that's exactly what we found in Dublin GAA. Since we started the partnership, they've been really easy to work with, and we're really excited to continue the journey together.
In those 3 years, we actually accomplished a lot with Dublin GAA. We were privileged to be able to work with both local and national charities with them, as well as working on several GAA initiatives.
This partnership allows us to support Club League and Championship and initiatives such as our Dubs TV live streaming platform. We try and stream as many games as possible, particularly during the championship season where we can from a logistical point of view around grounds, and that is something we will continue to try and deliver over the coming years and keep enhancing club championship product and club leagues around the county across all 4 codes.
In the coming months, we're going to be continuing growing our services. And while we do that, that means that we'll be serving more GAA community clubs than ever before.
This year alone, we're going to be introducing the Development Fund for Accessibility as part of our partnership, which is going to see core infrastructure at Dublin GAA developed. In the summer, we're also introducing the Go Ahead Ireland Dublin LGFA Summer Skills Camps, which will be held in July and August.
As Dublin's best performing public bus operator, we're going to continue to work really hard on delivering for our customers and our communities.
One of my favourite places to grab a coffee in Dublin is Bua. It's one of these kind of COVID coffee trucks that popped up and it's kind of developed into this bit of a social hub. I'll always find myself being drawn back to social fabric. It's just a beautiful place to go. They always have consistently good food there. Bar 1661. So I love watching them make the cocktails, shake it up, garnish it, serve it. Haughton village itself is a lovely little kind of seaside town. The Gravity Bar up on the top floor of the storehouse, and it's just an amazing place, an amazing view of Dublin City. Definitely visit Temple Bar and take in what's there. My advice would be to try your best to see other parts of the city. Brian Fenton, this is my Dublin.
It has to be Tang on Abbey Street. You can't beat their flatbreads with the chickpeas and spicy chicken. It's Irish owned, great food, great people. Shoe Lane beside Tara Street train station. It was close to Trinity where I went to college. They have nice croissants, fruit scones. If you're ever looking for a quiet place to go and chat with your mates, the Snug and Chaplin's has to be the go-to. Lovely old interior. Just have to get the dart out to Vico Baths, bring the swimming togs, go for a dip, and you get a lovely view of Killarney Bay. The Epic Museum, I think it's something nice to just figure out the history of the city. You have to go and visit a GAA or hurling or camogie game. It's the most amazing atmosphere. It's going to be an unforgettable experience. Cian O'Sullivan, this is my Dublin.
Tribeca in Ranelagh. I had to go with my family, it's a favourite of ours. Definitely recommend trying their wings. The Metro Cafe, it's a great spot for people watching, especially when it's sunny outside. An oat milk cappuccino would be my go-to. The atmosphere in Devitt is always brilliant. We've had plenty of team nights out there, always great crack. The Timber Trove Cafe in the Dublin Mountains, it's a really cosy family-run cafe. Family House would definitely be a must visit. They have monthly markets on which are gorgeous. I would advise you to walk around the city because most of the main attractions are close by and you can get there quicker on foot. Niamh Gannon, this is my Dublin.
Kyo's Cafe in Portobello. I really like going back just for the vibe. It's nice and chill, people are really cool. Trails Cafe in Ticknock. The coffee is really, really good. Americano, small bit of milk, and you're good to go and hit the trails. Blue Light is always a nice roaring fire. We tend to go up after All Ireland final week. It's a really nice place to be. I'd recommend getting out to Poolbeg Lighthouse. It's a great walk out. You get a great view back of the city. If you get the chance, I'd go up to Ticknock, go up and rent a mountain bike. Trails up there are pretty cool. Bring a raincoat, a shower's never too far away. Orla Nolan, this is my Dublin.
First memory of GAA would probably have been in Croke Park with my father. That would be in the early 1950s.
As a young lad brought down to watch one of my brother's matches.
Playing under 10 hurling, and I say hurling not camogie because I played on the boys team.
My feeling about the GAA was more a social one than a games one because I thought it was a great way for all the kids to get to know each other.
Mum and Dad always brought us up to have each other's backs. We'd all go to each other's matches. No matter what we were doing or playing, we'd all support each other. I'm playing for the club 37 years I think now, but I also coached my 2 daughters' teams.
It's great. It really is a great feeling to have the kids down there. And now all of their friends are beginning to come from the same community and the same focus on the club, so it's a mirror of what happened to me in my childhood, I suppose.
We made more friends down the years and had more fun down the years than ever we would anywhere else.
Mum fostered that through us as well. She was chief bottle washer. She'd have jerseys upon jerseys out in the line.
3 of my offspring are married, and they met their better halves through the club.
The friends and relationships I got out of it. Looking back, that was really what the GAA was about. Community, about building relationships with people. My name is Mick Galvin.
My name is Mary Galvin.
My name is Phil Galvin, and my family roots are in St Bridget's GAA Club.
Ground Force probably is the absolute heart of this club, both in their ethos, the amount of work they do, and just the pure love they have for Dave Marnoga and the GAA in general. In simplest terms, we probably couldn't function without Ground Force.
I suppose the GAA was always a bit more than hitting the ball or hitting the schlitter, you know, and it gave a great sense of community to people.
I suppose at my age, fear of retirement, worried about the unknown, what am I going into a home under my wife's feet all the time or something like that, and then we just got this men's initiative started off. We feel that we're giving something back to the club that gave so much to us. We come up here on a rotary basis and line pitches, cut grass. It kind of empowers us as well if we feel valued.
We're all friends, we're all retired, we're all around the same age group. Some of us have nothing outside of our work, and Ground Force has been a big change for everybody from a mental well-being point of view. It's really, really important and really significant, and there is great camaraderie amongst the group.
So I think there's about 30 odd men in this initiative that comes up to the club and has a chat, and the coffee is important as well. We sort out the world, Dan.
Yeah. Or we're most of it.
Yeah.
That's what it means to me, just achievement and pride.
We met down at Fairview, and Kieran's brother was a friend of my brother's. We met through them, so when I was coming up to the Debs, I invited Kieran to my Debs. He asked me to marry him, and I said yes, so long as our firstborn child played for Vincent's. And he said, okay, grand. It's great to have our family involved as well. I suppose if the kids weren't as interested in it as we were, it'd be very tough on us.
Kieran's are playing Vincent's. The tension in the house is gas. Mum is obviously Vincent's and Dad is Kieran, so Mum always claims that she'll give John steak for dinner and she won't feed Kevin. But it's always a bit of a laugh, but I suppose no one takes it too seriously.
She had her hands full. She could have got a job as a bus driver. The amount of dropping off and picking up she did from matches around. Leaving some matches early to go to another match to make sure she got the end of that, or make sure we all got the same amount of attention. There was no favourites.
It means everything. I don't know what we do without it, to be fair. We eat, drink and sleep it.
It's always through the family like the rest of us. There's not enough supporting words, I'd say.
I know my whole life at this rate.
We're very proud parents. That's a huge achievement to have 100% of your family still playing. We're proud of them all, every one of them.
My name is Niamh Heatherton.
My name is John Heatherton. I'm Kieran Heatherton.
I'm Patsy Heatherton, and as a family,
our roots are set in the GAA.
Well, there's just 30 minutes left in the championship for either Cuala or Castleknock, and the Southsiders are 5 points ahead going into the second half. Albeit we should mention, Paul, that there is a potential for extra time and penalties tonight, and if that happens in both of these semi-finals, you know, Ballymun again, or quarterfinals, Ballymun and St Vincent's later, we could be here till midnight, but chances of that are probably slim enough. But Castleknock are going to have to up things here in the second half.
Yeah, as the team went in, their subs stayed out and did a warm-up. Then that could be part of their tactics, that they leave the players to start in 15 inside for a moment to give them a bit of space and clear their heads, and then for the subs to get a bit of a blow in, and then when they go in and join, if any substitutions are going to be made, those subs are ready to go.
And if you're Castleknock, are there any changes you'd make? The kickouts certainly seem to be ruffling Castleknock's feathers, their own kickouts there.
Yeah, he's a better keeper than what we've seen so far. His kick-outs are better, but he was put under pressure by Cuala. The referee had a word from him. He hops the ball, so he's now under more pressure from nearly himself, and he needs to execute his kick-outs better. Easy for us sitting up here saying that I'm not ever having been a goalkeeper, but certainly needs to find some of his own players and in better positions, and again, a keeper can only do as much as is available to him, so Castleknock need to make themselves free for kick-outs and in an easier position.
We're looking around the pitch to see if there have been any changes, and it looks like the regular 1-15 jerseys, other than Owen Sawyer, who had started for Tommy McDaniels for Castleknock, but other than that it seems to be as you were. And it's just that goal from Owen Kennedy towards the end of the first half that's certainly stretched the gap between these two teams. Darren Delaney making checks on the sideline to see. He's checking with sideline official to see if everything's okay. I'm not entirely sure what the issue is.
There's a water boy and there's a guy on crutches making their way down around the corner, and the referee is looking at his linesman. He's nearly stopping the players coming inside the 45 to run in too early. And
eventually it is thrown in, and Peadar O'Cofaigh Byrne gets a hand to it unsurprisingly and gets it out to Peter Duffy, and now it's David O'Dowd pumping it inside for Con O'Callaghan, and on the loop is Luke Keating, back to O'Dowd and over the bar, or certainly I thought it would be from Duffy, and he instead skews it wide. Paul, there was a real goal chance on there.
Goal chance, that looked like it was perfection. The flick back, support play from a half back, great ball to Con, and then the options. That looked like a set play that a lot of teams work on nowadays, but no, not the finish that he wanted or they needed.
Yeah, manager Austin O'Malley, I'm sure, will be very frustrated with the finish there. It was a brilliant move, and Michael Fitzsimons with an excellent tackle on Luke Swan, and Swan tries to get it back straight away, but the referee says that he swung a boot at it. O'Cofaigh Byrne offers himself, and now it's O'Dowd who was heavily involved in that last move. And power goes back to O'Dowd once more. O'Gulan, Power. Takes his time. McMorrow out to Doran. Doran's under pressure from Sawyer, but eventually gets it away to Con O'Callaghan. There's a couple of players swinging out of him. He has a free. The referee will go back now because Luke Keating's his attempt was pulled out of the sky by Morven Connolly. Nice handling there from Connolly. But we will go back to the free. Con O'Callaghan was certainly tugged in the lead up to that shot, and Luke Keating is going to have the strike himself. So a chance to stretch this out to a 6-point lead. Keating, as ever, take a few moments to settle himself down before having his shot. And eventually he splits the post. So a 6-point lead for Cuala. Luke Keating was second free of the day.
So across the middle of the park we have 4 Cuala players, and that's the height of their press, and it's allowing 2 Castleknock behind, so they're saying he's not going to kick it much further than where they are now.
Connolly eventually goes wide here, and it's out over the sideline, not for the first time in this game, so really good pressure from Cuala, and Michael Fitzsimons gets the ball to Luke Keating straight away. Duffy, he's on the shoulder once more. Will he go low or high? He goes over the bar, pads it over the bar, and it's 1-8 to 4 points. Cuala really in charge now. And again Connolly is under big pressure here, and his teammates, they might have to bail him out, and he might just have to say, let's fight for it and win it. And brilliant stuff from Kevin Stevenson. That is exactly the type of leadership that Castleknock have needed out the field.
That's exactly it, super take.
The referee's unimpressed with Cathal O'Gulan. But when you're under pressure like that as a goalkeeper, Paul, eventually you just have to say to your outfield teammates, lads, I'm going to put this in the mixer, and you have to deal with it.
And that's a perfect flight of a ball for any guy who'd want to take a catch, and the advantage is with the player, because he can get that leap and use the man in front to get that leap. The flight of the ball was perfect. He's been striking the ball and not striking it well, and there's been a bit of a draw on it. That was pretty much struck straight on and straight to the player.
Inside now is Ben Galvin, but immediately he has huge traffic in front, red jerseys everywhere, and Stevenson comes and takes it back off him. And he has a shot, but it's brilliantly blocked down by Danny Conroy, a player you've marvelled at in the first half, and now it's Duffy who has Cuala on the front foot. And McMorrow gives it to Owen O'Callaghan, who's going to have to absorb a challenge from Niall Kilroy, and eventually Rob Shaw and Kilroy combine, but they just press a little bit too hard, and now Cuala have a free, and it's Keating who has McMorrow. McMorrow draws his man, gives it inside to Niall O'Callaghan with a chance to drive Cuala clear, but instead he puts that over the bar. And now it's 1-9-4, and Cuala have had 3 goal chances early in this half, and they have a couple of points on the board.
Yeah, I'm guessing management would have said, let's keep the scoreboard ticking over, let's get our scores, and that's what the players are doing.
Cuala certainly looking very dangerous when they carry the ball forward. And I think the referee is saying because you didn't catch it cleanly, it bounced out of your hand and back in again. I think that's what he's explaining, that it's not deemed a clean catch. Now, maybe some rulebook aficionados might correct us on the Dublin GAA social channels. But either way, Castleknock are on the front foot. Now it's Galvin. Again, Cuala so quick to get tackles in, get numbers around, and Ger McDermott Rowe, he's now gets it back to his teammate, and McDermott Rowe once more, and there's nowhere really for Castleknock to move with this ball, and McDermott Rowe eventually winds up from about 38 yards, and that drains off to the left and wide. So Castleknock struggling to work those easy scoring situations, the ones where you have like Dean Rock on the loop and he pops it over the bar that we saw for 10 or 12 years.
And two of them were left footers, and unfortunately he had to turn back into the traffic. They're out in the right wing and they were turning back into the traffic.
So O'Cofic Byrne, he goes up and claims that ball, but there was a hand across his face, so the referee awards the free to Cuala.
I still can't get over. I thought that's a mark. It's a clean mark. No one else interfered with the play previous to this, and even though he didn't catch it clean, he was still the sole marker of the ball.
Now Dorn has a mark, and David O'Dowd was running off his shoulder, but Dorn is happy enough to take the mark himself and have a pop at goal. Instead he doesn't, gives it over to Con O'Callaghan. Can't blame him for giving the ball to Con. And Con gives it to Luke Keating, back to Con, and the fisted point over the bar. That's 110 to 4 points, and Cuala straight away from the start of the second half, 4 points in a row.
Yeah, Castleknock will have to make some changes now, to see can he get himself in this game. And Tommy McDaniels, the Westmeath man, he is coming on, as is number 23 for Cuala, which is Killian Dunn. Being called ashore is James Power. And on the Castleknock side, Owen Sawyer, the number 23, he's also been withdrawn. So Tommy McDaniels is out on his own here at the top left of the pitch as you look at the screen. And if he turned around and looked, you could see the space. He didn't have to run all the way that far.
He's banking on a Castleknock teammate to catch the ball, and a little nudge in the back from Duffy on Conor Chalk, who's been pretty quiet so far up to now in the opening 42 minutes. Now it's Kilroy. Doesn't have too much to aim at in front of him. And Kilkenny, who certainly Castleknock will need in the game a little bit more and maybe even higher up the field, Paul. McDermott Rowe, an earlier kick inside, and it's Swan who turns at the edge of the D and unloads a brilliant shot, and that eventually gets Castleknock back into this game after a pretty quiet start to the second half. Here's that score once more.
Yeah, you could say, why didn't he do that earlier? That's a great play out in front. Now he's got pressure on here. They turn the ball over. They need to get a score from it. Now this is a turnover score. I can't beat them.
And McDermott Rowe has the ball after getting it back from Galvin. Eventually unloads on his right foot, and that's 2 quick points in a row for Castleknock, a team that looked dead and buried early on, but quick 1-2 with Galvin, and it's over the bar.
Off his weaker foot now, it was important to get that turnover score.
Now can they turn over another Cuala kick out? No. Really, really good work from the man who's just been introduced, Killian Dunn. He's under huge pressure there.
Yeah, it was 3-1 nearly at one stage of that passage before he gathered it.
Now kick pass into the corner for Niall O'Callaghan, who's faced up by Kieran Dunphy. He has a wild attempt which just drops short inside the penalty area, and O'Kofik Byrne was underneath it, and eventually he causes mayhem in there because Marvin Connolly wasn't able to hold on to it, and eventually it's knocked out over the end line. But after a wild shot, Castleknock failed to deal with what should have been, for a finish, pretty easy ball, but no, Con O'Callaghan probably got the last touch there. Once more there's mayhem back there in that Castleknock penalty box, and Dunn, he's made a good impression, winning another kick out when perhaps he wasn't favoured to, and Colin O'Gullan gives it outside to Luke Keating. And now McMorrow, who steps inside the would-be tackler and drops that shot short, but it is going to pop up and over the bar, so probably not by design, but McMorrow has himself on the scoreboard.
Yeah, keeper probably thought, well, it's dropped so short, it's not going to bounce that high on this ground. But little did he know that the rain hasn't come, and it hasn't been much rain the last week, thank God, with the warm days, and a good bounce over the bar for the shooter, because it was poor enough of an effort.
Andrew Hughes on the ball now. McDermott Rowe wondering, will anyone make a run forward for him? He just holds on to it. He's telling his goalkeeper to make a burst on the outside, which eventually Marvin Connolly does. And now it's Kilkenny. McDermott Rowe. And Cooler well set in the backs. Hand pass inside for Galvin, and was it going to be a tough one to hold on to? Slippery ball, and O'Callaghan eventually has it and gives it to McMorrow. And now Cooler on the front foot, and Kieran Kilkenny is trying to keep track with Con O'Callaghan, but that's tough to do. Ball is played brilliantly inside for Con O'Callaghan, and as sure as night follows day, Con O'Callaghan buries that into the back of the net.
The ball to Ben Galvin was a horrible ball. It was neither up nor down, and they turned it over so quickly, and there was so much pace. My God, the Jets, Con just sort of blew away from Kieran. But no, his gander would have been up now when it's one-on-one. If you put the ball in front of me, it's nearly easier for the forward to run onto the ball than it is for the defender to chase back.
And Danny Leonard has come on for number 5, Andrew Hughes, for Castleknock. And that is a real dagger for Castleknock. 2-11 to 6 points behind, 11 points between them, and 18 and change to go in this game. And Marvin Connolly pumps it out. Jerry McDermott Rowe has the ball spoiled, and it's out to Niall O'Callaghan, who pops it straight inside to Con O'Callaghan, who looks for the mark and is eventually told that he overcarried because the ball wasn't delivered from outside the 45. And probably Con, if he had to turn there, he was in on goal once more, but instead it's a free out and a little bit of a let-off for Castleknock. Ben Gavin's in serious bother, and he's going to be helped off the pitch. And which one has the ball?
He went down after that poor hand pass that the goal came from. Whether he got a kick in the calf, or he's got a pulled calf, or he's cramping. But the cramping, I'd be surprised now at this stage of a game, and it's not being that warm. And, he must have picked up a bit of an injury.
McDermott Rowe has the ball, and he's ready to have another attempt. And at the same time, number 21, Evan McSherry, he's on the field now for Castleknock, and he's standing by the goal line just to make sure that if the ball does drop short, he can be in a position to knock it back into play. Even so, McDermott Rowe, he could badly do with knocking this one over for his team, because they're quite far in arrears at this stage, and that brings it back to within 10 points. That's 2-11 to 7. So it's something that steadies the ship somewhat, Paul.
Oh, they need to press now and just, I think they need to take a chance. They either be beaten by 20 now, or they try and get back into the game. They need to have a go at this.
Yep, season's on the line. Winner goes through to a semi-final. The draw won't be made just yet until after all the quarterfinals are played. Now it's Kieran Kilkenny and Rob Shaw. Side to the substitute, who is Danny Leonard, but he gets stripped of the ball, and now it's Peter Duffy bringing Cuala onto the front foot. And Con O'Callaghan, of course, shows for him in front or on the outside of the 45. And he kick passes across to his brother, but Niall can't quite hold on to it. And Castleknock, they escape this time. Tom Shields with a hand pass over the top. Nicely played. That's Owen Walsh out to Niall Kilroy. He's been faced up by Owen O'Callaghan, and O'Callaghan's footwork does enough and ensures that the ball is overcarried by Kilroy. And Cuala have a free once more.
If Cuala were to get through to a semi-final, and the way they're playing this evening and what they've done so far in the championship, they'd be a hard team to beat. I'm really loving their energy, being at the game and seeing how they play it. Loving their energy, their quickness of transitioning to play, the threat of Con up front, and then a couple of really tough defenders. And
it didn't quite pan out that time because Niall O'Callaghan was adjudged to handle it on the ground, but they're pumping ball into the area and seeing what happens too, and they're getting results off that.
Yeah.
And Kevin Stevenson perhaps getting a little bit overexcited there and leaves a hand in, if we can put it that way.
Yeah, you've got Castleknock defenders wondering, do I play in front of these players or do I play behind them? And that's what's happening.
Yeah, so really good work from Owen Kendi, the goal scorer initially, and we'll generously say that Kevin Stevenson was looking to dislodge the ball there, but
yeah, he was trying to punch the ball, and the fact that it was at his head was the case.
Yeah, so a yellow card. That's the third yellow card of the game for, in this game. First for Kevin Stevenson, obviously. And straight away, Cuala turn over the ball, and Kieran Kilkenny has it, and into Rob Shaw, and now he's injected a bit of pace into this attack, and he tries to hand pass over the top to Conor Chalk, but he puts it into traffic, and Killian Dunn, not for the first time since been introduced, he's made a positive impact for Cuala, and they're on the front foot once more. Michael Fitzsimons puts Charlie McMorrow into a little bit of trouble, and McMorrow eventually has to foul.
Killian Dunn is certainly putting his name on the sheet for the next day. He's come in and he's had 4 or 5 different involvements, and he's done everything really, really well.
About 40 yards out now. McDermott Rowe, can he knock over 2 frees in a row and bring it back to within 9 points? They probably will need a goal or two at this stage, Paul, but we'll see how McDermott Rowe gets on here first of all. And the keeper looking above his head gives you that sign that it is straight over the bar.
Yeah, I think now Castleknock had a tough game against Raheny only a couple of weeks ago, and you know, is still in their legs, whereas Cuala had a pretty much easy one against I think it was Fingalians, and bet them really well, and they were on the up. So, you know, see where teams are at the moment.
And Kieran Kilkenny does really well to catch that Ryan Scollard kick out, and now Conor Chalk inside to Luke Swan. Swan has Cuala jerseys in front of him, but a brilliant score, hooks that over on his right foot, and all of a sudden it's 3 in a row for Castleknock. Perhaps they're not out of this game,
and
Paul.
Again, ball 30-40 yard pass in front of a guy, turn and kick a score. That's a second score, I think, like that. He done the last one on the top of the D, so, you know,
get the ball to Luke Swan.
He's done so much better for himself and for the team since he's gone inside.
Well, this time Ryan Scollard goes on Padro Kofik Byrne, and Cuala get the benefit of it. Now it's Peter Duffy on the end of a 1-2 to Luke Keating, and Caldorn eventually has the shot at the end of that move, and easy stuff through the lines, and Cuala straight away they steady the ship.
It's looking like they're trying to get through and goal every time. It's just they're thinking about, is this a goal opportunity? Is this a goal opportunity? Every time they do that.
Good work from Danny Leonard, and now it's Kieran Kilkenny, who's become more influential in this second half in the last couple of minutes. Pumps a high ball over the top for Luke Swan, who takes the mark. It's going to be a tough one from there for a right footer, so instead he looks for Chalk inside, but McMorrow gets a hand on it, and now Cuala are on the front foot once more with Castleknock jerseys looking to chase back and slow him up, and eventually they do manage to do that.
I thought Luke was going to give us a 3 of them. One at the top of the D, one here from the left corner forward. He took the mark. I thought he was going to kick one from the right side as well.
Well, Castleknock are certainly going to need scores, and time is running out. There's just over 12 minutes left of normal time. 9 points behind. Probably need a goal, maybe 2, and for Cuala to probably seize up a little bit here, but it hasn't looked that way. It's McMorrow. Cuala are happy to hold on to the ball, knowing that they have the game in their hands at the moment. Leonard, the substitute, he's shown a bit of energy since coming on. Now it's Doran. He's taken contact there, but somehow managed to hold on to the ball. And now it's Charlie McMorrow being surrounded by Castleknock jerseys, but he stays cool. Keating back to Niall O'Callaghan. And back once more. This time to Duffy. No pressure on Cuala at all to take this forward, but they can go around the fringes and wait for an opening. Fitzsimons to Duffy, and now Castleknock might be able to get pressure on. They do, but Fitzsimons able to ride the tackle and drive forward with O'Cofic Byrne to his right, and O'Cofic Byrne manages to get past Stevenson and McDaniels. Feeds the ball out wide, and eventually it looks to be just pulled wide. So an 8th wide for Cuala, the first in quite some time. I think that was O'Gillan for a finish. And now number 24, Conor Groark, who was Dublin under-20 hurler this year, dual player. He's getting his chance. O'Gillan is off. And Cuala win the kick out straight away. That's a little bit askew, aimed at Ger McDermott Rowe, but he can't hold on to it. Now the ball is pumped inside, and perhaps unexpectedly Owen Walsh ends up with the ball bouncing off his chest. But he finds a nice kick pass and sends Kevin Stevenson free. But he's been chased by Niall O'Callaghan. Tommy McDaniels now, the Westmeath man. And he's looking to pop it over the top for Stevenson, but it's cut out by a Cuala defender. That was Danny Conroy. But the tackle from the Cuala man was a little bit over-eager.
Yeah, as the ball was delivered, he was trying to hit it a little bit late.
Yeah, I think it might have been Niall O'Callaghan, yeah.
Again, in fairness to Stevenson, he's trying to drive the team on a bit. You know, he's the one sort of bright spark to what Castleknock are trying to do, as well as Luke Swan up front with the scores that he's kicked.
Well, if this goes over, it'll be 4 of the last 5 scores for Castleknock since that goal from Conor O'Callaghan. McDermott Rowe now, about 25 yards out, a little to the right, and the referee, or the goalkeeper I should say, puts his hand up, which is a sure signal that that one's over the bar. That's McDermott Rowe's 4th free and 5th point in total.
Top keepers wave everything wide.
Yeah, they know.
That's their thing.
Well, very easily popped out from Scholar to Owen O'Callaghan, and now Conroy. And Cuala very easily able to work the ball up the pitch. Given what's at stake, Paul, would they consider pressing up a bit more on the kickouts, or are they worried about Cuala going over the top?
That kick-out was way too easy, you know. Like there was 3 Castleknock guys around the D, just popped it over their head.
And a chance to step up after the free. They know there's going to be a kick-out, so it seems a little unusual, but play moves on, and David O'Dowd has a chance to take a mark, but instead has a shot himself, but that drops short. Now Kilkenny surrounded by a couple of players being chased down, but he's been through that before. He knows pressure situations, gets out of it. Stevenson, yet another burst from him, and being surrounded or being chased by Conor O'Callaghan, who sends him backwards initially. McDermott Rowe with an ambitious ball inside, but on top of the head of Michael Fitzsimons. Generally that's not going to be a positive result, and it isn't for Castleknock, and Cuala are on the front foot. Here comes Conor Groark. He runs into a little bit of traffic, and a hand in by Evan McSherry, but Groark gets the free, which Doran looks like he's about to take, and switch out to the far wing to Charlie McMorrow. This stage, Cuala looking quite assured, Paul.
Yeah, they're under no pressure. If you don't score it again, I wouldn't be surprised. It's not that they're home and holes, but they probably are. But you could say that they're seeing it out now to the end of the game.
Well, Duffy looks for a kick pass inside, and nobody seems to have expected it. And eventually, a boot is left in from McMorrow, and now Castleknock are back on the front foot. McDermott Rowe inside for McDaniels. He's a live wire. He runs at Owen O'Callaghan, who leaves a boot out. And it is going to be a free to Castleknock, of course, but Darren Delaney looks like he's going to give a yellow card. which would be a first for O'Callaghan.
Yeah, it was a good sidestep, all right. He left the boot out, so yellow card.
And from a Cuala point, probably a free worth giving away.
Yeah, in Gaelic football, you don't expect players to do that, but I think he was so much sold by the step. He just had to take the yellow card, and he's gone.
So that will be Cuala down a man for the rest of the game. Now it's substitute Leonard. And McDermott Rowe, he's having a shot, he's studying it. But no, pulls it to the right and wide. So first wide for some time for Castleknock, because their last 6 shots have gone over the bar. Pretty crucial time to try and get one more, but not on this occasion. Long kick out now. And again, that man Killian Dunn is fighting really, really hard for it, and he wins a free. It's been a really impressive cameo from Dunn so far, and this is certainly sending out a message to his manager, Austin O'Malley.
Well, the referee is turning around.
Oh, he's turning
he was celebrating his win, but the referee soon changed his mind. Like, we're talking about a sub having an impact, and for the last, say, 10 minutes, I'm looking at the Castleknock bench to see who they're bringing on. Have they got anybody to bring on? You know, management-wise, what are they doing? And just as we say, that one player has come out to warm up, but they may not have the players now to come on to try and lift them. They may not have the players from the positions that are key to them, you know, to have the same influence that Dawn has had for Cuala.
Well, John Fitzsimon's brother of Mick, he's come on for Cuala in place of David O'Dowd. So Cuala continuing to dig into their bench. Four and a half minutes to go, 8 points between the teams. Number 17, Tig Lowe, is also on for Castleknock. That ball has run out over the sideline. It's going to be a Cuala ball. And it's back to Scollard, who has Caldorn presenting. Now it's Danny Conroy. Cuala are happy to keep the ball at this end of the pitch, but eventually the goalkeeper Scollard decides to go along, and somehow it works out for Cuala. And now it's Conor Groark. Groark holds on to possession, eventually goes to Niall O'Callaghan, who goes inside to his brother Con. Con with the left foot from the edge of the D and drops this one short.
The two players on his outside, they were looking for it.
McDermott Rowe cuts inside Con.
I thought Cuala may have took Con off at this stage. Just seeing her out, give someone else a bit of game time and give him a bit of rest for his legs.
That's a free for Castleknock. Cuala are down a man now with the yellow card. And eventually it's worked back to Conor Chalk, who was seen score a goal early in the championship, and somehow it's shanked into the back of the net. Conor Chalk. And couple of minutes to go with slightly game on, isn't it, Paul?
Well, yeah, I'm wondering, it was great take by Kieran outside. Did it take a deflection going in? Because
yeah, it looked to have clipped off Luke Keating.
Maybe off his foot.
Yeah, I think that's Luke Keating's boot. And either way, Conor Chalk, who hasn't been quite as prominent as we might have expected tonight, he has his name on the score sheet. Just 5 points in it. This kick out's huge. And again, Killian Dunn is fighting for it. Conor Groark as well. And Groark has the ball. He stays cool and manages to work it back to Caldorn. So huge battle for possession there, and Cuala are on top on this occasion. And they're trying to regain their composure after gifting away a goal. Well, certainly how they'll see it. Castleknock will feel that they put the ball into the mixer and they fought hard and won it. And now McMorrow cutting through. He's got Padro Kofic Byrne, who sees Conor Groark inside, and that ball spills away from Groark. But he had a second bite at the cherry, but Rob O'Shea did very well to react and knock that ball out of the area, because there was certainly a goal on, Paul.
Yeah, Cuala looking for the goal.
Evan McSherry getting his hand in as well, probably dislodged that ball from Conor Groark's hand, so huge intervention from him. It's going to be a 45 for Cuala. Will they go for it or will they go short? We'll find out shortly. Scholars.
Keeper come up and probably try and put the ball dead. I think Padder Coffey could have easily maybe taken his point in that position instead of going for that goal. But they seem to be a team who are just looking, or goal hungry, or looking for goals all the time.
Conor Mullally, of course, has been on Dublin panels in the past. He has come onto the pitch now. Scollard. And that looks good. That split the posts, and Cuala back out to a 6-point lead. 2:13 to 1:10 as we head towards we're in the last minute of normal time.
And Conor, a great player to come on, a great club player. You know, give you everything for colleges as well, university. With Dublin, he never gave a bad minute to Anthony, did, football-wise. It's great to see him coming on the pitch.
Castleknock running out of time, 6 points behind. They're going to put it in the mixer once more. Swan goes up, got a little nudge in the back, and eventually Luke Keating is there to pick up the pieces. And Cuala are on the front foot. Cal Dorn, pacey player, bringing it out. He runs into a bit of traffic, but finds Conor Callahan in the midst of it. He gives it to Groark. Groark on now to John Fitzsimons, and Cuala are in enemy territory here with options. Eventually it comes to, well, a bit of a miscued finish at the end of all of that. And Castleknock get away with it. That was Conor O'Brien. Perhaps he could have just given it back to Conor Callahan or Fitzsimons, but eventually he misses the chance and Castleknock get away with it. Their slim chances remain slim. They would have certainly been ended if that had to go into the back of the net.
Yeah, he was under a bit of pressure, a bit of a partial block on it, but he was trying to kick it on the outside of his left boot from that position. So Con was steaming through the middle, probably looking for the ball.
Kieran Kilkenny keeps the play moving rather than taking the mark there, but you can't blame him for trying to put it in the mixer at this stage, but sometimes those balls favour the defenders, and Cuala have once more managed to win one of those high ball breaks. And now Cuala are on the front foot. Duffy into O'Callaghan. He can pop it over if he likes. There's a chance to press for a goal too if he really wants to. And eventually he miscues under pressure from Evan McSherry, and the referee isn't going to go back for a free.
No, I think he was expecting Conor Mullally to come up on his outside and take the pass, but Conor was just a supporting type of role, and Con ran a little bit out of a bit of space.
And despite going down a man with Owen O'Callaghan being off the field, Cuala have managed to create some goal chances on the counter, showing plenty of energy, but this time it's another ball into the mixer for Luke Swan, and really good play from Danny Conroy, who seems to be holding his leg now. Perhaps that's a bit of cramp. Yeah, he certainly seems to be shaping up like it's cramp.
Yeah.
One of his teammates turning his toes back towards him.
Yeah, just a little bit of torn and something cramped up all right, just as he kicked the ball there.
Did really well to get that ball away from Luke Swan, who's certainly been dangerous when he's been fed ball. Kieran Kilkenny with the 45. Will he clip it into the mixer? Well, he miscues it a little bit, and it favours the Cuala defender, who again was Danny Conroy.
He's down again, yeah.
He is down, clutching his hamstring once more. Maybe that is cramp. Hopefully that's not too bad, but either way, Cuala find a way to ease through to the semi-finals of the Dublin go-ahead Ireland Dublin Senior 1 Football Championship. 2:13 to 1:10. The goals came from Owen Kennedy in the first half and Conor Callahan midway through the second half, which very much put Castleknock on the back foot. Conor Chalk did manage to get a goal towards the end. That was deflected in by a Cuala defender. But overall, it was quite comprehensive, wasn't it, Paul?
Yeah, the goal at the end made it look probably more respectful for Castleknock. But in fairness, Cuala deserved a win. They created lots of chances. They took plenty of opportunities. They had a couple of players come off the bench, made a big difference too. Defensively, I thought Danny Conroy had a solid game. Charlie McMurrow and Mick Fitzsimons says they controlled it. Mick got up the pitch, kicked one score, could have kicked maybe another two as well. Midfield-wise, they were dominant throughout.
Okay, well, we'll run through highlights of the game. We'll start off here early doors. Back when we had a bit of daylight, I think this was Niall O'Callaghan with a really nice score early in the game. That was the first score of the game. Luke Swan with one of his 4 scores. 2 of them were frees. And Castleknock led at this stage when Niall Kilroy patted this one over the bar. But then from here on, Paul, it was a lot of Cuala scores, including Con O'Callaghan, who eventually would finish up with 1-3 from play and a couple of frees to go with it. And there's Swan with another one of his frees, and I'm sure Castleknock would have wished to get him on the end of a few more moves.
Yeah, Stevenson had a fine game in midfield. He was fighting right to the end, and Swan went inside and caused a couple of problems, kicked two good scores and possibly a third when he took a mark and decided to play it out, and it was turned over.
Here's the goal. McMorrow inside to Kennedy.
Just watch his eyes. He looks across the pitch, and it's as if the keeper saying he's going to cross it across the pitch and just pick the inside post.
And there's Luke Keating with one of his frees that he knocked over. There's Keating once more, this time setting up Duffy, who had a couple of goal chances just like this early in the second half, and this one he did put over the bar. Keating again, he was involved in plenty of approach play. And here's Niall O'Callaghan, who probably was looking for the roof of the net, but instead went just over. Here's Con O'Callaghan with one of his scores.
This is Swan, just comes off the top of the day and kicks a good score.
And Galvin, who later went off injured, feeding the ball back to McDermott Rowe. Over on his left, and this ball up into the mixer. Eventually ended up in a scramble, but Castleknock got away that time. Here's McMorrow, and ball skipped up. Maybe it's a slightly greasy ball, and it's tapped over by Marvin Connolly. And here's the second goal. McMorrow really driving forward, under pressure from Chalk, and eventually into Con O'Callaghan. And well, there was no surprise when that hit the back of the net, even though Marvin Connolly did manage to get a touch. And from there on, Cuala just saw the game out. There was a good response from Castleknock. They got several scores. I think maybe 4 of the next 5 scores after that. And O'Callaghan maybe had a chance there, didn't quite realise. I think he was looking for the mark, but his teammate had hit the ball in from inside the 45. And there's McDermott Rowe.
It's the ball again to Swan into space. The confidence is a fine score under pressure.
Yeah, fine footballer, and Castleknock will certainly wish they got more ball into his hand. There's Duffy, powered forward from midfield all day. And Doran.
Players coming off the shoulder each time, maybe to penetrate through a gap.
McDermott Rowe again, and probably just not enough from play for Castleknock over the course of the game. Not enough of a threat, but here was a goal chance. Well, it was a half a chance really for Chalk, but eventually it clipped off maybe the foot of Luke Keating into the back of the net. And here's another half goal chance. Good work from Evan McSherry to knock it out of Conor Groarke's hands, and Rob O'Shea eventually knocked it out wide. And Ryan Scollard, he popped over the resulting 45. So that was it for Cuala. Really comprehensive for a finish. 2-13 to 1-11. They're into the Dublin semi-final stages. We'll find out who else is going to join them over the course of the weekend, and keep an eye on the Dublin GAA social channels to see the draw. But that's it for our coverage here from myself, Shane Stapleton, from Paul Clark. There's plenty more football this weekend, including after this broadcast, Ballymun Kickham's against St Vincent's in one of the other Go Ahead Ireland Dublin Senior Football 1 Championship quarter-finals. Thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.